this lesson, you'll learn how to play the rose using your choice of 3 beautiful finger-picking patterns. So let's start by taking a look at our 3 patterns, how to play them, and how they sound with both low and high G tuning. All of our patterns cover 2 beats. Here's pattern 1, played slowly on a C chord. We'll start this pattern by picking strings 4 and 1 together with our thumb and ring finger. Then we'll pick string 3 with our index finger, string 2 with our middle finger, and back to string 3 with our index finger. The rhythm of this pattern is 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and at a faster tempo, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Here's how pattern 1 sounds with high G tuning. And at a faster tempo, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Here's pattern 2, also on a C chord at a slow tempo. To play this pattern, we'll pick strings 1, 2, and 3 together with our ring finger, middle finger, and index finger. Then we'll pick string 4 with our thumb, back to strings 1, 2, and 3, and then back to string 4. The rhythm of this pattern is 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and at a faster tempo, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And here's pattern 2 with high G tuning. And at a faster tempo, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And now here's pattern 3, still on a C chord. We'll start this pattern just like pattern 1, picking strings 4 and 1 together with our thumb and ring finger. Then we'll pick string 2 with our middle finger, string 3 with our index finger, and then string 4 with our thumb. The rhythm of this pattern is 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and at a faster tempo, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And here's how pattern 3 sounds with high G tuning. And at a faster tempo, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Did you know that all of my song sheets, tab arrangements, and songbooks are available for download on Patreon? The link is down below in the video description. If you're enjoying my lessons, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Let me know what other songs you'd like to learn, and please give this video a thumbs up as it really helps to support my channel. This song is made up of 3 verses, and each verse uses the same chord progression. So in this lesson, we're going to focus on verse 1. We'll walk through it line by line, looking at how to play the chords and the chord transitions. and how to apply our 3 patterns, counting out the rhythm. Throughout this song, all of the chords in standard font are held for 2 beats. We can play any one of our patterns 1 time on each of these chords. The chords in bold are held for only 1 beat, and for these chords, we'll pick all 4 strings together. Starting with our song introduction, we have 4 C chords, and for these chords, we can play any one of our patterns 1 time on each chord. For C, you can use either your ring finger or your pinky on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. So let's use pattern 1 and count out the rhythm for every 4 beats in our introduction at a slow tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Moving into line 1 of verse 1, we start with 2 C chords, so we'll play our pattern twice more on C, and then we move to G. For G, we have our index and middle fingers on the 2nd fret of strings 3 and 1, and our ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. Now we'll play our pattern twice on G. So here's how it sounds to count line 1 at a slow tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. In line 2, we move to an F chord. For F, we have our index finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string and our middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. We'll start line 2 by playing 1 pattern on our F chord. And then we have an F chord in bold, so we'll pick all 4 strings for 1 beat. And then we'll pick all 4 strings going back to our G chord for 1 beat. And then we have 2 patterns on C. So here's how it sounds to count line 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Line 3 of the verses is played the same way as line 1, and line 4 is played the same way as line 2. So let's move down to line 5 and take a look at our chords here. We start on an E minor chord. For E minor, we have our index finger on the 2nd fret of the 1st string, middle finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and ring finger on the 4th fret of the 3rd string. From E minor, we go to A minor. Now for our A minor chord, we're playing the 2nd fret of the 4th string, and you could use your index finger here, but I prefer to use my middle finger because then it's already in place for our F chord that comes in line 6. Now for line 5, we'll play any of our patterns 1 time on each of our E minor chords and A minor chords. Now let's move to pattern 2 and count out the rhythm at a slow tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. In line 6, we go back to our F chord for 1 pattern. Then we have an F chord in bold, so we'll pick all 4 strings for 1 beat. And next we have a D minor 7 chord, also in bold. So starting from our F chord, we're going to keep our index and middle fingers in place. And then moving into our D minor 7 chord, we'll place down our ring finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string and our pinky on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. Next we move to a G7 sus2 chord, followed by G7. Now for G7 sus2, you have 2 options on the fingering. One is that you can keep your index and ring fingers in place from the D minor 7 chord, lifting up your middle finger and your pinky. Or if you prefer, you can place down your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and this makes it a bit easier to form the G7 chord that comes next, placing down your ring finger on the 2nd fret of the 1st string. The first makes for an easier transition from D minor 7 to G7 sus2, but the 2nd makes for an easier transition from G7 sus2 to G7. Now we're going to slow down the tempo when we get to our G7 sus2 chord. And then our G7 chord at the end of the line is held for 2 beats. So here we could play one pattern. However, I prefer to pick all 4 strings because this gives us a nice musical pause as we move into line 7 and resume our tempo. So let's count out the rhythm of line 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. In line 7, we'll resume our tempo and we'll play any of our patterns one time on each of our C chords and G chords. So let's count the rhythm of this line, changing to pattern 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. In line 8, we go back to our F chord, then to G7, and we finish this line on C. We'll play one pattern on each of these chords except for the F and G7 chords in bold. For these 2 chords, we'll pick all 4 strings. So let's count the rhythm of line 8 using pattern 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The 2nd and 3rd verses are played the same way as the 1st, and in the very last line of verse 3, we can slow down the tempo as we approach the end of the song. We have one added C chord at the end of this line, and here we can pick all 4 strings. Next, I'm going to play and sing the entire song so you can play along with me. Now I'm going to alternate between our 3 patterns, and feel free to do the same, or if you prefer, you can choose just one pattern and stick with it for the whole song. I'm going to use both low and high G tuning for this play along, so you can hear how it sounds with both tunings. 5, 6, 7, 8. Some say love, it is a river that drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed. Some say love, it is a hunger, an endless aching need. I say love, it is a flower, and you its only seed. It's the heart afraid of breaking that never learns to dance. It's the dream afraid of waking that never takes the chance. It's the one who won't be taken, who cannot seem to give, and the soul afraid of dying that never learns to live. Just remember in the winter, far beneath the bitter snows, lies the seed that with the sun's love in the spring becomes the rose. I hope you enjoy learning these beautiful patterns to play the rose. Have fun practicing, and thanks for watching.